A news hour tonight. Several feared dead as passenger boat capsizes in Niger State. ACF calls on politicians to prioritize governance over 2027 elections. Dangote refinery cuts ex-depot price of petrol. In the foreign scene, Sudan accuses UAE of complicity in genocide at World Court. Good evening, welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. An unspecified number of passengers have lost their lives after a passenger boat capsized in the River Niger in the Lepai axis of Niger State. Details of the mishap were sketchy, but Trust TV guarded that the incident happened around 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Sources said the victims left Buge village in Kogi State en route Sokun village in Niger State with over 200 bags of paddy rice when the incident happened following a windstorm. One of their sources, Baba Al-Hassan, said all bags of the paddy were lost in the River Niger, adding that the number of passengers in the boat were yet to be established. The Director General, Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Abdullahi Baba Ara, confirmed the incident, but said the agency was yet to establish the exact number of people involved and the cause of the mishap. Joining us via phone call to give us an update on the incident is Daily Trust reporter in the state, Abubakar Akote. Good evening, Akote. Thank you for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Good evening.
So from the story that we've just read, you see that there are not numbers are not yet known. Is there an update to that? Do we have specific numbers rather of the incident?
For now, the specific number of casualties have not been established by authorities because from what the local sources said was that where the incident actually is far from both the sublanding from taking off points and then landing points. But for now, it has been established that some people lost their lives have been confirmed. As I earlier said, two siblings were involved and they have been confirmed dead. But the number of people that were in the boat have not been actually established to know those who are still missing. But Insema said that they are on top of the situation to establish those who are in the boat.
All right, so what exactly can we say was the cause of this capsize? Was it the windstorm or was it overloading?
The local sources said after taking off a cloud weather accompanied by a very strong windstorm came and then leading to the boat driver losing control of the boat. Some people attributed it to lack of experience on the part of the boat operators. Usually, what they say, usually when the boat operators see clouds that are raining, they usually look for where to stop until when the rain stops or windstorm stops before they take off. But the event of the boat operator was set up. Continue with his journey, even when he saw the cloudy weather above him, and then subsequently the windstorm came and then affected the movement of the boat.
Can you tell us more on the rescue and recovery efforts taking place currently?
The rescue operation and what the rescue operation was ongoing, but looking at the survey and where the mishap happened, Insema authorities are also saying that the operation has been very difficult for them since this time because Insema police have been nice, but their team have been deployed to see that they have not gotten the update on how far they have gone with the operation.
All right, Coach, have you been able to speak to any survivor of this incident?
The survivor for now, We have not even established if any of the passengers survived from the mishap. As I said, it happened in the night, and when and people got information, even though they got information that night, it was difficult for the operation team to start working that very night, looking at the terrain. So for now, we don't even know if there are survivors.
All right, Akote, just before you go, this is not the first time a boat mishap is occurring in the Niger State area. What is the government doing to see that this isn't a recurrent situation?
I recall last month, the first week of March, NIWA in particular, in collaboration with the Niger State Ministry of Water and the Niger State Ministry of Transport, organized a sensitization for boat operators in Kacha, where they also unveiled penalties for violation of water transport regulations. But this has persisted. The operators will always give reason. For example, they have been banned from night travels and then overloading, and then the use of just life jackets has been strictly enforced, made mandatory for them. But the reason they usually give in respect of life jackets is that life jacket is not regularly available in the local market for them to buy, and that the supply, the donation from government is always insufficient. Where a boat is to carry till about 100 passengers, and the operator has only 20 life jackets with me, it's difficult for them for it to go around. So the complaint that if government can make ways to ensure that life jacket is made available in the market, so that operators can actually buy it on their own, it's to go a long way in helping the situation. The government cannot supply the quantity number required.
All right, thank you so much, Abubakar Kote, for joining us tonight on News Hour, giving us an update on the incident in Niger State. The federal government has predicted heavy rains and floods in 30 states in the Federal Capital Territory FCT Abuja. The high flood risk states are Abia, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Edo, Gombe, Imo, and Jigawa. Others are Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, Zamfara, and the Federal Capital Territory. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utsev, on Thursday said coastal and riverine flooding would be experienced in some parts of the south-south geopolitical zone of the country due to a rise in sea level. Utsev stated this during the public presentation of the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NESA, in Abuja. 2025 Annual Flood Outlook was segmented into 3 parts to address the present challenges of flood disasters and provide information for mitigation, especially in the most vulnerable communities. Now joining us virtually to further discuss the flood alert by the federal government is an environmental analyst, Desmond Maje-Kudomi. Good evening, Mr. Maje-Kudomi. Thank you for joining us on News Hour tonight.
Good evening. It's good to be here with you.
If you can hear me, Mr. Maje-Kudomi, what environmental factors could we say contribute most to the increasing flood risk in Nigeria?
Well, I hope you can hear me, because as we're talking right now, we're having massive amount of rainfall that just started, and the room is noisy. Anyway, yes, the reality is that the rains are here, and there is a new terminology that is being used to classify rainfall. According to the Secretary General of the United Nations, we shall no longer be expecting rainstorms, but we shall be having rain bombs. That is massive amounts of rain falling in a short time. We've already seen this in certain parts of the world this year, in Valencia, Spain, they had in 8 hours the amount of rain that would normally fall in a whole year. And we have been advised and warned by our meteorological, hydrological organization to expect some very, very heavy rainfall. This is a global issue. It's not just Nigeria, it's not just Africa, but we are very much part of it. And we must take cognizance of this. This heavy kind of rain is coming because of what we have done to nature, to the environment, particularly pouring millions and millions of tons of what they call greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which is making the heat of the earth to increase. And when you have increased heat over water bodies, and remember, 2/3 of this planet on the surface is water.
Yeah.
When you have increased heat over the water body, you're going to have more evaporation. And if you have more evaporation, more rain. So let's get ready for it, my dear people.
All right. So now, for us here in Nigeria, what can we say is increasing our flood risk? Because it seems every year it's getting worse. And what can we do to abate this increase?
Yeah, this is very, very important. Well, at least the first thing has been done in that we are recognizing that there is going to be an increase. But we need to come to terms with the very, very harsh reality that this increase is going to continue. It's not that, okay, well, maybe for another few years. No, it's going to get worse and worse and worse for many more years to come until we globally, as citizens of this planet Earth, decide that we're going to start living in harmony with nature. We're going to start reducing the pollution. Because even though we have been warned several decades ago that this would happen, that we should reduce the pollution, we never did. The pollution is continuing. So yes, we know more heavy rain are going to be coming. And we need to take the right sort of action. In Lagos now, we have a very proactive Ministry of Environment, and they are saying that they are taking the very necessary action, clearing the drainages, removing all the things that could have been blocking our drains. And then there has to be massive campaigns for people not to use the drains as waste bins, as garbage places. You must not throw your waste into the drain. And you must not even throw plastic onto the streets. Not throw plastic all over the place, because this will get washed up into the drain. And once you block the drains, you're going to have heavy rain. And that heavy rain can cause catastrophe in your particular location. It can cause terrible floods. And I'm sure nobody in their right mind would want to be responsible for causing a flood that will take people's lives, especially the more vulnerable people, the young children. So we need to take very, very serious precautions. And that is ensuring that we do not use our drainages as waste areas.
Okay, so just before I let you go, can you give us more things we can do, especially for the high flood alert states that are expecting this? What more can be done? Now, yes, they've said it's coming. What can we do to at least mitigate the effect of the floods?
Yes, it's very, very, very important. And we have been warned now. So it's up to the leadership, it's up to the decision makers in these various high-risk areas to do everything possible to ensure that they activate the various processes of clearing the drainages, even desilting the streams and the rivers, and massive campaigns. In fact, I would expect to see some of the leaders of these particular flood-prone areas themselves to go out with the crews to help the crews and to show leadership by example. And they should take cognizance of the fact that if they do not do this, then the retributing factors will come upon them, because these are one of the very, very sure laws of this earth, laws of the universe, that action begets reaction. If you're a leader, you better go all out and do the good things to ensure that your people are safe. And those things are very easy to do if you decide you're going to be a real leader. That's what we're hoping and praying for.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Majekodomi, for joining us tonight on News Hour, giving your insights on the flood alert by the government.
Thank you.
Now, moving to other stories, some residents of Abuja and the Federal Capital Territory have been rendered homeless as a result of a rainstorm that destroyed properties worth millions. The rain, which lasted for hours on Wednesday night, destroyed houses in some parts of the FCT communities, leaving some people without shelter. Areas affected include Apo, Jabi, Karimo, among others, with reports saying more than 50 houses were destroyed in Chefiu and Apo. Properties like churches, educational institutions, and residential buildings, including makeshift shops, were also destroyed in the affected areas. Although no lives have been reportedly lost, properties worth millions of naira were, however, damaged as the rainstorm, accompanied by strong winds, wreaked havoc in houses. Still on the environment, a rainstorm has destroyed scores of houses in Shanga local government area of Kebbi State. Kebbi State Governor Nasir Idris sympathized with the people of Garin Kistu in Atua ward in Shanga local government and urged the affected households to consider the incident as an act of God. This was contained in a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ahmed Idris. According to the statement, the governor, represented by the chairman of Shanga local government, Audu, recalled that the heavy rainfall, which occurred on Tuesday night, destroyed houses and property worth millions of naira. He assured the victims that the government would provide support, including building materials, and appealed for patience, promising that the state government will soon come to their aid. Following the recent spike in insecurity across the country, the Ariwa Consultative Forum has called on politicians to focus on governance rather than campaigns for 2027 elections. The call was part of the remarks delivered by the ECF chairman, Muhammad Mike Usman SAN, at the ongoing National Executive Committee meeting of the forum at its secretariat in Kaduna. Trusty Vispello Musa has more.
Addressing delegates shortly after the holy month of Ramadan and the upcoming Easter season, the ACF chairman described the recent resurgence of violent attacks in parts of the north and other parts of the country as disturbing and unacceptable. The forum called on members of the forum and leaders across board to be courageous and selfless in speaking truth to power.
While the cruel murderous attacks on the Boko's peasant farmers and peace-loving petty traders is said to be undergoing investigations, the recent resumption of Boko Haram merchants of evil on families in the northeast lack conceivable explanation, bearing in mind federal government's assurance of the region's return to normalcy. These insecurities have substantially interfered with the peaceful coexistence of our people. Farmlands are evacuated, schools are closed, petty trading is discontinued, and livelihood is impaired.
The forum also revisited the protracted Ete boundary crisis involving Kogi and Enugu states, adding that the ACF had received fresh appeals from the Ete Boundary Committee requesting intervention to compel the National Boundary Commission to finalize demarcation by erecting concrete boundary pillars.
Supreme Court giving directions to the National Boundary Commission to go there with their surveyors and to take measurements with a view to determining where the boundary really is and who between Enugu State and Kogi State owns the place in controversy. A lot has been done. We've been following it as Arewa Consultative Forum, And I'm happy to say that we've almost come to the end of it. Current report, which is authentic, confirm that the place, which is a subject of controversy between Enugu State and Kogi State, belongs to Kogi State, which is which is a land within the confines of our region. That is northern Nigeria.
The forum also said engaging in premature campaigns for the 2027 general elections at the expense of governors is insensitive amidst the deepening insecurity, economic hardship, and growing discontent among Nigerians. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
Operatives of the Kaduna State Police Command have rescued 17 kidnapped victims and recovered 21 rifles. Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi, who made a disclosure in a statement on Thursday, said the victims who were kidnapped on March 3, 2025 from Serikin Power in Niger State were rescued on Wednesday, April 9th by operatives of the Command Anti-Kidnapping Unit in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor. He explained that the operation, notably achieved through a non-kinetic approach, evidences the commitment of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, to leveraging intelligence-led policing and interagency synergy to address security challenges. All rescued individuals, he said, were promptly taken to the police clinic in Kaduna for medical examination and have been certified to be in stable and sound health.
On 9th April 2025, in a remarkable feat of interagency collaboration and strategic intelligence deployment, operatives of the Kaduna State Police Command Anti-Kidnapping Unit, in conjunction with the Office of the National Security Advisor, successfully rescued 17 victims who had been abducted on 3rd March 2025 from Serikin Power in Niger State. This operation, notably achieved through a non-kinetic approach, evidences the commitment of the IGP to leveraging intelligence-led policing and interagency synergy to address security challenges.
Over in Kebbi State, the police command says it has rescued the 400-level student of the Federal University, in Kebbi, Augustine Madubia, who was kidnapped on Tuesday by 5 armed men at his off-campus hostel in the Kalgo area of the state. The police public relations officer, Nephew Abubakar, in a statement, said the abductors abandoned the kidnapped student and fled when they sighted a combined team of policemen and vigilantes that were mobilized to the Dankingari forest for a rescue mission. It would be recalled that the gunman, while abducting the student, killed a herder that tried to rescue him and one other student who managed to escape from them at their Ongwa JG residence in Kalgo. The statement said the student was rescued unhurt and currently responding to treatment at a medical facility, after which he will be reunited with his family. The Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, Umar Abubakar Tafida, in the company of the Commissioner of Police, Bello Msani, handed the student to the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Muhammad Zayan Umar, at the university's council chambers. Turning security matters, over in Kano State, the murder of a 5-month pregnant young woman at her home in the Farawa area of Kano State is attracting public outcry for justice. Rumaso Shoibu was murdered with a kitchen knife on Sunday evening, with the police assuring that investigation is in progress to arrest her killer. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports.
The mother of the late 5-month pregnant Rumasao Shoaibu grieves in shock as several questions about her daughter's murder remain unanswered. In Mariri, Samia Farawa area of Kano, residents were shocked on Sunday night to learn of the murder of Rumasao in her home. Her husband Ibrahim Muhammad offers further insights into the incident.
Abin da ya kasance na fito daga gida misalin karfe 2 na zo nan gidan mu Tarauni to sai muka yi waya da ita wajejen dida.
At about 2 p.m. I left the house to visit my parents' home in Tarauni. I spoke to her at about 2:45 because we regularly contact ourselves each day. Later, when I tried to reach her, I couldn't. So I decided to go back home. But unfortunately, I found her dead in our parlor. I can't say how her assailants entered the house, and I'm sure they took her phones because I can't find them. Neighbors are wondering if the murder was as a result of a robbery, a targeted assassination, or rape. People around here confirmed they saw her after Asr prayer, which is usually by 4 o'clock. But we got the news of her death from around 7 or 6:30. Our neighborhood is usually busy, but we suspect phone thieves because her phones were missing. Since the unfortunate incident, visitors have continued to troop to her family's residence to offer condolences. Devastated, the father of Rumasau's husband, Muhammad Ibrahim, a retired fireman, says despite witnessing a number of deaths during his career, this particular incident hit him differently.
Wannan yarinya Ruma jika ce a wajena. Wata da ta haife ta.
Rumasau is the granddaughter of my elder sister, so we married her to my son 3 years ago. When I got to the house after hearing the news, I saw her in a pool of blood with the knife that was used to kill her just beside her body. It is very disturbing. We don't suspect it was an act of revenge because among all our children, she is very calm and not known to have an issue with anyone. According to the police public relations officer SP Haruna Kiyawa, investigations are in progress with a view to arrest the culprit. The deceased parents' residence in Hotoro, a rumor that the assailant contacted the family after carrying out the act was dispelled by Bala Muhammad, a close relative.
We
have never experienced this kind of incident before. It is really shocking. No one called her parents. Nothing like that happened. It was only when her husband discovered her body that he called us. Even if anything was taken, we can't actually say.
What did she do to them? A young woman who is known to live well with everyone. We pray that whoever did this is caught. We pray the Lord catches up with them.
As investigations continue, the family of Rumasau Shuaibu continues to grieve, searching for answers and justice. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
A high-powered committee constituted by Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, led by his deputy Aminu Abdusalam Gwarzo, departed Kano to Edo State to investigate the recent killings in Uromi on Thursday. According to the Chief Press Secretary to the Deputy Governor Ibrahim Garba Shoibu, the committee was tasked with a fact-finding and peace-building mission. Shoibu pointed out that the committee was established in response to national outrage and growing concern over the violent attacks in Uromi, which claimed several lives and displaced many residents, including indigents of Kano State. Residing in the area, speaking at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport prior to departure, Deputy Governor Gwarzo reiterated the committee's commitment to justice, peace, and reconciliation. To the security matters, security expert Abdullahi Yilwa has expressed concern over the federal government's recent directive urging citizens to refrain from paying ransom to kidnappers while seeking the release of their captive loved ones. According to Yilwa, the call is premature given the present security climate in the country. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has details.
The recent call by the central government to Nigerians regarding the persistent issue of kidnappings affecting both ordinary individuals and high-profile figures continues to generate diverse reactions. A security expert in Bauchi articulated the necessary measures that should precede any statement capable of exacerbating the situation rather than offering solutions.
Currently, the situations leave much to be desired. I think the government has a lot to do before tasking the relatives or the victims on what they should do. The expectations of the victim and their relatives on the side of government has not been met. So it is too preemptive for government to just seek for that collaboration.
Meanwhile, some Bauchi residents hold different perspectives on the government's action and inactions concerning the protection of citizens' lives and property.
Idan an yi haka,
to me gwamnati ta tanada ma su talakawa.
They are saying we shouldn't pay ransom to kidnappers, but are they ready to do same when their own is in captivity? Certainly no. That is why it will be difficult to implement it. Currently, we are battling with lack of manpower for security, and they think we will fold our arms and continue like that. The government shouldn't politicize the security situation, please.
The federal government should sit down and work and fight against the excessive poverty in the country. And this poverty is not something that is actually Nigeria supposed to be facing. We have no reason to face anything poverty in this country because we have more than enough. Our country is abundant with any kind of resources.
They enjoin the federal government to employ technological security innovations and adhere global best practices to decisively address the menace of banditry and kidnapping comprehensively. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
You're still on to News Hour on Trust TV. After the break, Ijaw Indigenes stage solidarity rally at INEC headquarters. More Memory Chan, please to stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now a recap of our top stories. We told you that several fear dead as passenger boat capsizes in Niger State. We also informed you that the Arewa Consultative Forum has called on politicians to prioritize governance over the upcoming 2027 elections. Two more stories. A total of 40 million euros have been committed to curb hunger in the Lake Chad Basin region, a crisis that has worsened living conditions and triggered mass displacement. This was disclosed by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, during the official launch of Reselak 2 in Abuja. Kabru Lawal was there and now reports.
Represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Emeka Vitalings, the minister said the Reselak 2 project was designed to further boost economic and social recovery in the Lake Chad region with the goal of reaching over 500,000 vulnerable people.
And bolster the efforts that we are undertaking to uplift affected communities. Since its implementation in 2018, the Reselak project has brought tangible improvement to the lives of people in Maiduguri, Borno State. As we move forward with the second phase, we hope that the progress achieved thus far will be sustained and expanded. Now, building on the foundation laid by Reselak 1, continued investment in resilience building initiatives is crucial to ensuring that the people of the intervention areas continue to improve their living conditions and build a brighter future for themselves and their communities.
Other dignitaries at the event included the European Union Ambassador to Nigeria, Guta Mignot, who explained that the European Union and the French Development Agency launched the initiative to improve living conditions and build community resilience through economic recovery.
It's a multi-level community, communal, regional, national and sub-regional project. It's also a multi-sector project with 3 main interconnected and complementary areas of actions. And it's a multi-donor project with the European Union and the Agence Française de Développement, the French Republic, joining forces with a total budget of 40 million euros, illustrating a very strong Team Europe approach that we are developing now in the framework of a global gateway strategy.
Also speaking, Andualem Fikadu, Deputy Country Director of Action Against Hunger ACF, said the second phase of the project will focus on improving food security and access to primary health care.
The first phase of Resiliac 1 was implemented from 2018 to 2022. It was a multi-year project and it has reached thousands of people in Borno State. As we complete the implementation of this project in 2022, we conducted a thorough evaluation of what we have achieved during the implementation period, and we learned from the first stage of the project.
We are here representing CARE, and we are very excited to be here because we are part of this very innovative program that's just been launched to improve the lives of people who live in the Lake Chad region. And this is as a result of a combination of factors that have impacted negatively on their lives, including climate change, conflict, and a host of other things. We recognize that there are associations and interrelations between climate change, conflict, and insecurity in the region.
Responding, the Commissioner of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement in Borno State, Isa Garba Halidu, expressed appreciation for the support, urging the implementing partners to continue contributing to the development of the region.
From the Resilak 1, we have seen the enormous benefits of the Resilak project itself. And now that we are thinking of a second local government intervention for the Resilak, we feel highly elated and we are happy with it. We want to assure you that my state government is fully behind Resilak. His Excellency, our Governor himself, the former Commissioner of Reconstruction himself, he knows Resilak at the back of his hand.
The project targets 36,000 direct beneficiaries with a focus on vulnerable groups such as women, children, and internally displaced persons across 3 local government areas in Borno State. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Dangote petroleum refinery and petrochemicals has reviewed its ex-depot gantry loading cost of petrol to 867 naira per litre. It was guarded that the refinery informed its marketers and customers of the slash on Thursday. An official at the refinery confirmed the price reduction from 880 naira to 867 naira per litre. Checks into petroleumprice.ng also confirmed that the private refinery reduced its gantry price by 13 naira on Thursday morning. Fueling stations like MRS Oil and Gas, Adorova PLC, Hayden and others with special agreements with the Dangote refinery are expected to reduce their pump price to around 910 naira from around 925 naira to reflect the marginal reduction in the export price of the premium commodity. The price reduction by the private refinery followed a meeting between representatives of the Dangote refinery and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, on Tuesday. The presidency has tendered an apology for the errors in the list of appointments made by President Bola Tinubu since assuming office on May 29, 2023. Special advisor to the President on Media and Public Communication, Sunday Diary, on Thursday made the apology on behalf of the presidency. Diary, in a post on his official X account, countered the allegation made by an All Progressives Congress APC lawmaker representing Borno South, Senator Alin Dume, in a recent interview on Rise Television, where he accused President Tinubu of violating the federal character principle in his appointments. Ndume in the interview said he decided to call Tinubu's attention to his lopsided appointment because, as a lawmaker, he has the right to criticize the president despite belonging to the same political party, APC. Diary thereafter released a list to counter Ndume's narrative about Tinubu's alleged lopsided appointments, showing the president's appointees from each geopolitical zone. The omission of major appointees, including the president's chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, however, ignited further debate on social media, leading Diary to take to his X handle on Thursday to apologize for the errors on the list. Members of the Trade Union Congress TUC and the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC on Thursday morning picketed the Ministry of Steel Development Complex at Wuse 2 in Abuja, the nation's capital. The aggrieved unions demanded better welfare for themselves and their colleagues working in the ministry. They also opposed what they described as the unjust sack of workers and a ban on workers' rights to practice unionism. The labour unions, led by Eche Azuzu, barricaded the main gate of the ministry's headquarters in the nation's capital and prevented staffers of the ministry from gaining access to their offices. Carrying placards with different inscriptions and singing solidarity songs, the protesting workers kicked against the federal government's alleged maltreatment of staffers at the ministry and demanded better wages.
Our cooking stove, be ready to eat our rice. Waiting with the tell when I be saying that work away on a sack without entitlement. too much.
Scores of Ijaw elders and youths this Thursday staged a solidarity rally at the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Abuja on Thursday over the recent ward delineation exercise in the three local government areas making up the Warri Federal Constituency. The ward delineation exercise was undertaken by INEC following an order issued by the Supreme Court in a 2022 judgment. The Ijaw stakeholders who came from Gbaramatu, Egbema, Diebiri and Isaba communities endorsed the ward delineation exercise in the Warri Federal Constituency, describing the process as diligent. Wielding placards with various inscriptions, they commended INEC for the ward delineation, dismissing protests by the Ishekiri over the outcome of the exercise. Addressing journalists during the protest, spokesman of the Ijaw Kingdoms, David Reje, said INEC has taken the right step as a body committed to the rule of law to implement the verdict of the Supreme Court, which ordered the exercise.
So we are here to thank INEC for a perfect job well done. We believe that henceforth our vote will count. Henceforth the majority will speak. And we want to believe that INEC should continue with that good work they are doing. So whoever that has come here to say that INEC has not done anything is trying to mislead the public. It is not so. 17 good months were used to carry out this exercise, where the entire nation was informed. And everybody is aware, it's in the public space. So no one will come out to say that INEC has done something wrong, INEC is this, INEC is that. It is not correct. So our simple message is that INEC should continue with the good work they are doing.
INEC in itself, I just given a report that this is the field report. And people are already shouting, INEC came to invade community and this is not true. We were all part and parcel of this process. And we are saying that we will continue to ensure that INEC stand on this issue prevail. We have seen our report, we have read as INEC instructed, we have studied it, and we are saying that this is the true reflection of the population of the terrorist local government.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio has formally petitioned the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, over what he described as a criminally defamatory and inciting allegation made by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Odoahan, who accused him of plotting her assassination. In the petition dated April 3rd and copied to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, Akpabio described the claims as heinous lies intended to damage his reputation, incite public unrest, and endanger his life. The controversy stems from a public speech by Akpoti-Odoahan on April 1 in Kogi State, where she alleged that Akpabio had directed former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello to assassinate her within Kogi State in order to make it appear that her constituents were behind the attack. Responding to the accusation, Akpabio stated in his petition that the allegation, made without evidence, was politically motivated and designed to manipulate public sentiment. The Senate President also stressed the impact of the allegation due to its widespread coverage on TV, radio, print, and social media. He concluded the petition by stating the need to hold public officials accountable for statements capable of undermining national peace and democratic institutions. The Federal High Court in Abuja on Thursday struck out a 50 billion naira suit filed by Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, against the federal government. Justice Iyan Ekwo, in a ruling, struck out the suit for lack of diligent prosecution. When the matter was called on Thursday, neither Kanu nor the federal government was represented by any lawyer. Justice Ekwo observed that on the last agenda, while no lawyer was on court for the IPOB leader, the federal government was represented by a counsel. The judge, who said the case had taken 3 adjournments due to no representation, consequently struck out the case. Kanu had sued the federal government of Nigeria and Attorney General of the Federation over allegations bordering on violation of his rights, insisting that he was kidnapped from Kenya and brought back to Nigeria to stand trial. On the business scene, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has fined 8 electricity distribution companies, that is DISCOs, 628 million naira for violating its capping order on estimated bills for unmetered customers. The statement by NERC on Thursday said the fine was in pursuant to Section 34, subsection 1E of the Electricity Act 2023, which Abuja, Eko, Enugu, Ikeja, Jos, Kaduna, Kano, and Yola Discos failed to fully comply with the monthly energy cards issued by the Commission between July to September 2024. It said the non-compliant discos have been sanctioned to pay fines amounting to 628,031,583 naira and 94 kobo, which is equivalent to 5% of the naira value of the gross overbilling for the period under review. The Commission has also mandated the discos to issue commensurate credit adjustments to all customers affected by the overbilling by 15th May 2025, the end of the April 2025 billing cycle. The Commission reaffirmed its commitment to regulatory compliance and consumer protection within the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Still in business, the Nigerian Railway Corporation has temporarily suspended Warri-Itape train service. This was disclosed in a statement shared by the managing director of the company, Kayode Opiefa, on his X account on Thursday. The suspension, according to the statement, will last for 72 hours. The statement blamed the suspension on technical engine failure encountered on Tuesday, 9th April 2025. Cold winter weather and geopolitical instability sent European gas prices soaring to a two-year high in the first quarter of this year. That was the key takeaway from a new report on the European electricity market from energy data analyst Montel Analytics. The average TTF price, a key indicator of gas prices in Europe, reached €46.79 per megawatt in the first 3 months of this year, a 9% increase from the final quarter of 2024. The rise was sparked by a cold winter, which reduced storage levels, ongoing geopolitical tensions and anxieties about a trade war with America after U.S. President Donald Trump promised a raft of import tariffs on European countries. The cold, calm weather led to several instances of brief deconflict periods in which demand is high while there is little to no wind or solar generation. This resulted in periods of very high day-ahead prices in several countries across Europe. Away from Nigeria, here in Africa, Sudan on Thursday told the International Court of Justice, ICJ, that the United Arab Emirates was violating the Genocide Convention by supporting paramilitary forces in Darfur and asked judges to issue emergency preventative orders. Sudan's complaint to the Hague-based ICJ, known as the World Court, is said to be in connection with intense ethnic-based attacks by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) and allied militias against the non-Arab Muslim tribe in 2023 in West Darfur. Meanwhile, the UAE has repeatedly dismissed the filing of the case as a political game. Sudan accused the UAE of arming the RSF, which had been fighting the Sudanese army in a 2-year civil war, a charge the UAE denies, but U.S. experts and U.S. lawmakers have found credible. The Sudanese Justice Minister Usman Mohammed Kher asked the court to order the UAE to prevent genocidal acts against the Masalit. Over Southern Africa, a Zimbabwean court on Thursday denied bail for nearly 100 people arrested 10 days ago for allegedly protesting against the rule of President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Police rounded up the 95 men and women on March 31 at a small protest in central Harare, mobilized by a veteran of the ruling ZANU-PF party who has called for the president to leave office. They were charged with breaching the peace and participating in gatherings with intent to promote public violence, offences that carry sentence of up to 5 years in jail. Magistrate Ishuninsu Matova said he denied bail on the grounds of public safety, as the belief of the 95 will likely cause commotion and allow them to regroup. Those in jail were aged between 20 and 63, and none were employed, according to the police charge sheet. 3 other people arrested the same day were already on trial on similar charges. The death toll after a roof collapsed at a crowded nightclub in the Dominican Republic has climbed to 218, the head of rescue operations disclosed on Thursday. Rescuers have worked frantically since the collapse in the early hours of Tuesday to dig out survivors from the rubble of the Jet Set Club in Santo Domingo, the Caribbean nation's worst disaster in decades. Among the dead were famed Merengue singer Ruby Perez, who was performing on stage as the roof caved in, as well as 2 former Major League Baseball players and a local politician. Helicopter images showed a gaping hole in the roof of the structure in the nation's capital. Authorities ruled out the possibility of finding any more survivors late Wednesday. The government said it will open an inquiry into the disaster as soon as the rescue operations have been completed. It's time for sports with Adini Ajishafe.
Edo Queens, Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Angels have officially booked their places in the 2025 Nigerian Women Football League NWFL Premiership Super 6 after the conclusion of match day 11 fixtures. In the biggest showdown of the week, Edo Queens edged Remo Stars ladies 1-0 in the top of the table Group A clash in Ikene. Kafayat Mafishiri struck in the 8th minute to seal the win for the Benin Bay side, extending their unbeaten run while halting Remo perfect home record. In Lagos, FC Robo Queens dealt Rivers Angels their first defeat of the season, running out 3 new winners at the legacy pitch. Goals from Kemi Adegbuyi, Miriam Yahaya and Okpeyemi Ajakaye brought an end to the Port Harcourt side's 10-game unbeaten streak. Despite the loss, Rivers Angels have secured qualification for the Super 6. Bayelsa Queens also cemented their place in the Super 6, continuing their unbeaten run with a comfortable 2-0 victory over Benue Queens. Harmony John and Alabao Babiyi provided the goals for the Nagoya Bay side. In Lafia, Nasarawa Amazon recorded the biggest win of match day 11, dismantling Conference Queens 5-0 with Janet Akekorowe bagging the hat-trick, while Aminat Bello and Josephine Matthias added 1 each. Elsewhere, Ibom Angels rallied from behind to beat Niger Rattles 2-1 in Uyo after Sofiat Bankole gave the visitors the lead. Second half strides from Chioma Achiebu and Abigail Awak completed the comeback for the Orange Ladies. Abia Angels edged Atlant Queens 1-0 in Aba, courtesy of a 27-minute goal from Olajumoke Abina. In Lagos, Danas Ladies and the Ekiti Queens shared the spoil in a 1-1 draw with Rashidat Balau and Augusta Chukuma scoring. Delta Queens returned to winning ways in Asaba, with Priscilla Omeje's lone goal earning a narrow 1-0 win over Adamawa Queens. With Nigeria Test loss at Bayelsa Queens, Rivers Angels clinched a Super 6 spot thanks to a 10-point gap, just as win over Remo Stars and Rattles respectively guaranteed the Super 6 qualifications of holders. Edo Queens and Bayelsa Queens match day 12 is scheduled for next Wednesday, with 3 games left in the regular season in the race for Super 6 and Survivor against relegation. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
Programs and documentaries to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I'm Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good night.